So the recording has begun.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Now we are starting our today's session. We have got with us Dr. Jishnu RB. Dr. Jishnu is basically from Thiruvananthapuram. After his BTech degree in Civil Engineering from CET, College of Engineering Trivandrum, he has done his MTech from IIT Kanpur and PhD from IIT Delhi. Dr. Jishnu has done his PhD in tunnel engineering. It's a very specialized area, highly specialized area in civil engineering. And he is one among the 2 tunnel engineering PhD holders in this country. 2 years he has been working in software industry, and 10 years he has been working in consulting industry for many of the international companies in tunneling and metro. He has been a consultant for Delhi Metro, for Hyderabad Metro and Mumbai Metro, and right now he is working on UK based projects for an international company by name Arcadis Consulting. I have requested Dr. Jishnu to list his profile of employment so far, so you will know what are the areas which he is familiar with. He has also worked in the largest consulting company in India, L&T, for some 3.5 years. Anyway, his profile he will be presenting. And I have requested him, based on his 12 years of experience in the industry, I have requested him to give a talk on industry institute interaction or in industry academy interaction, and what is the necessity for that and what are the benefits for that. Some more of our teachers are ready to join. I don't know why people are so slow in joining. And of course, I also have to introduce that Dr. Jishnu is my son-in-law. Now over to Dr. Jishnu for the session. Most welcome to the group of teachers from the Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology. He is also a member of the advisory board of some engineering colleges, but not Ahalia. So I request Dr. Jishnu to join us for the presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this warm introduction. Actually, my name is Jishnu RB, and I have been working for various consultancy firms, basically national and international, on various metro projects and tunneling projects. In between, I had this good fortune to do my PhD and masters from IITs, and my BTech is from College of Engineering Trivandrum. So I have made a this session will be mostly something like an experience sharing session, where I will be sharing what are the hurdles that I faced in the industry and why it is required to have a good interaction between industry and academia to do fruitful research or fruitful submissions as far as the industry guys are concerned. So how we can bridge this gap properly and to have a proper interaction, because engineering is ultimately applied sciences, and whatever academicians are doing, that has to go to the practical arena in a proper way. So for that, interaction is very much required, and that is very much lacking in most of the industry, most of the areas, particularly in civil engineering industry. So I have made some 3-4 slides. In that, I will be just summarizing some of the what you call lacunae in this or gap, why this gap is happening, and then that will be the agenda of the session. So I'm going to present my slides right now. I will just present my profile and then I will start. So if you can see my screen, you can give me a thumbs up. I guess you can see my screen, right? And the presentation also.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will So this is my brief profile. So I was working, just I will tell you about my employment exposure because that is more relevant here. Initially, I started with a company called Halcro Consulting Private Limited, India. So this was a British company, it was a very old company. I had the good fortune to work with this company straight after my MTech through a campus placement. Then I was very much interested in tunneling. This company was not giving me opportunity to work on tunnels because they never had these tunneling projects. Mostly they were highway projects. So I thought like it will be great that if I have a switch to core tunneling firms. So there was an Italian firm called Geodata Engineering SPA. It was also in Delhi. So I was absorbed because one of my seniors asked me to move to that company. So I went over there, worked there for 2 years, and then an L&T suddenly turned up and told me that, okay, if you can come to our company because we are going to work on Mumbai Metro project, which is one of the biggest underground projects, which was at that time one of the biggest underground project in India. So it was having 20, if I'm not wrong, it was having 26. It was having some 26 underground stations, and then I thought like, okay, this would be a new opportunity because L&T is do construction also. So I wanted to work on not in the construction site or something, but I thought like, okay, fine, this will be a good opportunity for me to work in both design and construction interface. So went to L&T, and then I left that company because I wanted to go again back to the pure design area, again in that Mumbai Metro itself. So one package was done by consultants in Delhi. So I went over there, I worked there, and then I thought like it will be better that I'll be, by that time I completed my PhD also. So I thought like, okay, now it's the time for me to go down south because that is where I belong to. So I came to Bangalore, and now I'm working in a UK-based company, and we are doing a highway project in UK, which is called as HS2, which is one of the signature project in UK. So that is my brief profile. So basically, for industry academia interaction, we have to see there are mainly three aspects. So one is the employer, the next one is the mentor, and the third one is employee. So employer means I will not use this term industry again and again because it is an outdated word which came from Industrial Revolution. I would rather like to use a word called corporate. So the employer are those corporate firms, and employee is basically the people, or you can say like the prospect, your students who will later on complete their degree and then they will become employees. And then the mentor means the professors, the system as a whole. You can call them as a mentor in one bracket. So if the problem here is that the employer evaluates the employee directly, and then they will make an opinion about the mentor. So if I may say one of my experiences, when I was studying in College of Engineering, Trivandrum in 2003 to 2007, Microsoft came into the campus of NIT Calicut. So if you go by international repute, NIT is above College of Engineering, Trivandrum. So Microsoft came to the campus, and they took some 6 students, and all of us we were discussing in the campus like whether it was a great thing that Microsoft is directly coming to the campus. So they came to, and we were really suspicious whether they will come to CET or not. Suddenly they turned up in CET, and they took 9 students, more than what they selected from NIT Calicut. So we were suddenly thinking like why they selected this 9 number. So then later on we came to know that we have a few alumni from CET in Microsoft, and they pushed the employer to take these students. So why the employer is taking them? Because they know these guys are good enough. So it will be great if we take them on board, because here you must have understood like how the employer is making a mind about the mentor or the institute based on the employee's performance, and then they take those students. So basically the alumni is very important when it comes to the employer-employee mentor cycle, because basically the employer employer knows about the mentor or the system more through the employees or the students who pass out from the institute. So I will start first from the employee, what we are really expecting from the employees. And once we have a good relation with the employee, then we can have better interaction with the mentors or system. So that is why employers mostly go to reputed colleges for more interaction than going to some normal colleges. So this is in the hands of your students. So what we are expecting basically from the students, that will be the first part. So I will just start that. The first thing that we are expecting is soft skills or technical skills. So what I mean by soft skills is that is basically communication skills. Maybe it is oral communication or written communication. So that is something which most of the colleges should focus upon, because however good your student may be technically, if he is not able to communicate in the written form or in the oral form, then it always creates a bad impression on the institute from where he or she is coming. So that is, I know there are some courses like communication skill courses, which occasionally colleges float for this improvement, but I'm not sure whether it is hitting the bullseye or not, because that is something which we have to really focus upon. All colleges must be really particular that whether their students can speak in English or whatever language which the employer wants, and also if he can write or she can write. Then the next point is technical skills. So technical skills, when we hire these students into our companies, we don't expect them to have great technical skills, but the basics must be very, very strong. Because why we need this good basics, and that is the one reason why these employers are normally going to reputed colleges, because the general consensus is that, okay, these guys, if you are from an IIT or an NIT or a reputed government college, the general consensus among the employers is that, okay, these guys will be good enough to perform technically. So, and this what the advantage is that, and another problem that employers are facing nowadays is that they have shortage of training budget. Like, because when you hire these freshers, and if you have to invest too much on them, no employers nowadays are willing to do that. So that is one thing. Initially it was not like that. Before 10 years or 15 years, people were really investing on students. But with this open market, and because what can happen is that if you invest heavily on a fresher, and suddenly he got all those skills, and with this open market and lot of companies, then if they suddenly switch, it becomes a huge loss for the employer. So technical skills, soft skills are very important in these days of shortage of training budget. Now, when these students are coming into these students are going to different organizations, what they need to have is acceptance or open-mindedness. So what you mean by acceptance or open-mindedness is that if you have hired a student who is doing very well in academic front, once he comes into the company, he feels if he has got this this baggage, that I know everything kind of a baggage, then that becomes a real deterrent for us. So there we have to, there the clash of egos can happen and everything. I don't mean here by becoming, I don't want, I'm not telling that students must be doormats, but rather they should come in and, some sort of, open-mindedness should be there for them. So, however good you may be, this is your new area, and you must be having this open-mindedness to understand things. Now, the next thing is willing to unlearn. So this is one thing which people don't trust too much. Like, students must be ready to unlearn so many things which they have learned in their BTech or MTech or PhD, from whatever background they are coming. What I mean by unlearning is that sometimes these this curriculum or whatever subjects you have learned in your graduation or whatever. So that may not be relevant to the industry, because what happens in the industry or in corporate field is that we have to always update. So it becomes it is based on the client requirement. So if I may say a simple example, I know people who are still working on 1970s technology in the academia area, and we no more use that. We use advanced technologies, we use advanced softwares. And when students come in with this excess baggage of 1970s, then it becomes a real headache for us to explain to them, like, okay, you have to unlearn this because this is totally outdated. I mean, nobody cares about these things. So this is something which students must be ready to do, that if you are technically good also, okay, you can take some of those concepts and keep it with you, but not to be very much rigid. Now, the next point is about professionalism. Professionalism, I don't mean that you have to come to office in so and so hours, you have to leave from office in so and so hours, dress nicely and neatly. These things, no. Now professionalism means that you should not fail in the time of deliverables. Like if you have to deliver a particular thing at a particular time, you deliver it from anywhere, we don't care. So I mean, that is why you have this work from home flexibility and all these things now in the corporate world, that all you have to do is your work. I mean, you will be having a deadline for it, and you just have to deliver that work by deadline. Whatever dress you wear, we don't care. What time you're starting your work, we don't care. What time you're signing off, we don't care. So only thing is that you have to deliver we have to give the deliverables. So that is one thing. Now, the next thing that students has to really keep in mind is that you have to love your profession and not the company, because nowadays with this open market and systems like that, there is a huge competition amongst the companies to win projects. So there may be a condition, there may be a situation like you may be working on a high, on a great project one day, and after 2 years, that company may not be having anything to offer to you. At that time, you must be having that guts to move from that company to look out for new opportunities. So days are gone, like whether the companies are thinking like you should be sincere to the company and all those things. All they are worried about is that you have to give the deliverables in the correct time. So love your profession and not your company. So if you are doing well in your profession, companies will run after you. You don't have to be like you don't have to be so sincere towards your company or manager or anybody. All you have to do is that you have to love your profession. Now, the next point is that never to rest on laurels. I have seen this often with students coming from out of IIT. They think that tag will fetch them everything. So they say like, okay, I'm from IIT or I'm from NIT, so that means you will give me a good salary and stuffs like that. No, it's not. It can happen for the first job. It can happen for second job, but not more than that. All that matters is your CV. So what work you have done, okay, this IIT tag may be helping you later on because, okay, it carries a bit of a weightage, but that doesn't mean that you can rest on your laurels and take money, whatever it is. Now, the next thing what we have in industry is that it is impossible to do quick fix solutions. By quick fix solutions we mean that you cannot submit anything, because money is involved in it. If you are designing a bridge and if you are designing a tunnel, say if I am designing a pile and something I did in my computer and I got my pile length as X meters, this X meter submission is going directly to the contractor, and you have to defend this X meter on all possible fronts. Okay, you have to go and defend it in front of the contractor. You have to go and defend it in front of the checker. You have to defend it everywhere. So it is impossible to quick fix because lot of this assignment kind of a mentality which students have. Okay, I will write something on assignments. I will submit it. I will get marks. That will never work in industry because you have to be serious there. So if you have all these attributes, Okay, if you have, and there is something else which I want to say also, because some people, despite having all these qualities, may not be fit for industry. There are some people like that, because I know one person who is a PhD from IIT Madras. What happened to him is that he was good. His soft skills, all these skills were with him, except of the fact that he was not able to deliver in time. He was always suspicious. Okay, why suspicious means, okay, if I am telling like my piling, just I'm taking the previous example, just my piling this X meter, to give that X meter, he was always suspicious. He will think like, okay, if the earthquake is going to come here, when what will happen, if, what could be my liquefiable depth, then if I whether I have to change my X meter to X plus 1 meter. So he was always suspicious or reluctant to submit his results, and because of that, that professionalism thing goes out of the window, and finally what happens is that the company suffers. So some people, maybe those people can go more into research than coming to organizations where you have to deliver things in time. So once your employee or the students who are coming out of your college has got almost all of these qualities, not necessarily only this, maybe I might have missed some points, but if they have this kind of attributes in them, then definitely as employer, the corporate world, they tend to have a good impression. They will be making a good impression about the college, and finally then you can have a better kind of an industry academia interaction. Now this is what I said, to be fit. So now the next one is mentor. What mentors has to do? See, when I was studying, I mean, mentor or system means the colleges from where they are passing out, right? So the first thing is that when I was studying in CET, we had a unit called Career Guidance and Placement Unit. I mean, it may be, there may be some other names in some other institutes, I don't know, but we used to call them CGPU. So we used to call it CGPU. So CGPU, Career Guidance and Placement Unit, all they were interested was to give jobs to students and not to guide them what the career they have to choose or what their career would be in future. See, job is a quick fix solution. Okay, so what I can say about job is, I mean, there is a difference between tactics and strategy, right? Tactics is something which you do for short term, and strategy is something which you do for long term. Okay, and something like that is career and job. So when you speak about career means it's a long term thing. So I mean, and job is something which is a what you call it, which is a short term thing. So all CET was interested in my college to give jobs to students, and they used to project like we have 100% placement, 100, and I mean, most of the students have got 2 jobs, 3 jobs at hand, like that. They used to project like that. So this is not something which is required. So what they need to do is that they have to guide the students. They have to show them opportunities. They have to tell them, okay, this is the opportunity you have, this is the opportunity you have. So for that, the mentor, the professors, or the system as a whole should somehow understand what are the possibilities for the students once they go to the corporate field. So that is something which is very important. Now the next point is wisdom-based education. By wisdom-based education, what I mean is that, see, nowadays we don't care about knowledge, right? Knowledge is important, but knowledge is there everywhere. So now in these days of internet and everything, you don't need to memorize everything. All you need to know is that where that information is and where to apply. So it's just like, just take the right screw and fit it in the right place. You don't need to know how that screw is made and all. Okay, so the applicability of the knowledge, to take the correct knowledge and use it in the right place, that is what is important. So when you give assignments to the students and everything, it must be mostly, I mean, this question of what is that, I mean, this knowledge questioning kind of education, that must be totally replaced with wisdom-based education, because knowledge is everywhere in this internet age. Now, the next thing that the mentor or a system should focus is that they have to facilitate some kind of an exposure in the practical from the practical fields. That means you can call people like us or somebody from industry or from corporate world. They can come and talk, they can come and interact with students to tell them what are the opportunities that they have. For example, myself, I'm from earth engineering field, that is tunnel engineering and everything. So I can really tell the students like, okay, if you have done your masters in so and so, then these are the opportunities you have. Okay, and that is the way it should be done. But the problem which happened to people like us was that since we were not having that exposure, we had to go knock every door, see whether. That is the reason why I went to software initially, right? Because I didn't know what to do. All we were concerned was campus placement, get one job, and then finally you go there, you knock the door, opened it, and found it, okay, this is not the thing I want. So then I came out, and then I had to do a master's, right? So this kind of, this happened because I never had interaction with people who work on the field. So this kind of a facilitation is very much required, and the responsibility is on the system. The system must facilitate this exposure. Now, once this exposure is done in the proper way, it helps the industry also to do industry-oriented research, right? So because when you have proper interaction, that means first you have good students, then the good students go into the system, and then they create a good impression. Then the system comes to the goes to the corporate field, and they create an impression. And once that impression is created, the corporate field comes to the mentor or system. They have this kind of an interaction, and finally, what ultimately will happen from the system is that they will produce industry-oriented research. So this industry-oriented research would ultimately help in the funding, because maybe if I'm working in corporate field, if I have a particular problem which I don't know how to solve, I checked in almost all the literatures available, and I found it, okay, this is not there. So I can really dial up one of my professors, and then I can ask them, okay, this is the problem that I'm facing. Give me a solution within a time. So what happens here, when he is ready to give that solution, he made, I would say like, okay, this is the problem I have, and the maximum time limit I have is 2 years or 3 years. Then he will say, okay, 2-3 years, fine, I will hire a PhD student, and I have to give a report in 3 years. So what the professor will do is that he is getting funding, he will push on his PhD student, the PhD will be finished in 3 years, they will be having papers, good for the student, good for the institute, and that is what should happen. But what is happening now in the academic area, I'm telling you about IITs and NITs, what they do generally is that they're doing something called delta research. So what is the meaning of delta research? Delta research is a condition where professors are like stagnated water, okay, and they do some small kind of research. They will add a small thing to it. Like if I want to study the interaction of 2-foot foundations in some soil, then first year he will be working on circular foundations. Next year he will be working on square foundations, strip foundations, like that he will be working. So what this happens is that all these publications which he or she is doing is going into a black box which nobody cares. And what will happen here is that the industry will be having a bad impression about that professor or institute. They'll say, like, okay, this guy is doing something which is absolutely not necessary, so let us not look at that. Okay, so that is what happens. Now the next thing, and this will what ultimately happens is that this corporate people will never come to the professors to ask any questions. They will say, oh, okay, let us leave him aside. Instead of asking him, we will do it ourselves. Okay, and we have more manpower to do it. So they will hire some good guys, they will work in a team, and then they will come up with a solution. So that is something which will happen. And now the next thing is that there could be a reluctance to, I've seen this, they have this problem, like they have a reluctance to update their information. What I want to say is that I was working on a project, in a hydroelectric project. Its name was Bajoli Holi or something. And we had a problem about the jointed rocks, and we were not getting like how to model that by using numerical solutions. So we went to IIT and we asked one of the expert professors the solution. And to our dismay, what we found out was that this professor was not at all know the numerical procedure, what we are doing, and he was supposed to be an expert. Okay, and being an expert, if he's not able to give us a solution, we were really aghast. So that is one thing which we have found generally. Now, the next thing is that what in these elite institutes or institute of national eminence, they have something called guru complex. We call it as guru complex. Why we call it as guru complex is because I will tell you. In India, we have a general thing is that general thinking process that guru is something who is going to throw light in darkness, right? So we consider guru as an authority. So this really creates a logical fallacy called appeal to authority. Okay, and when this appeal to authority becomes too much, then you generally come into an area where you think that knowledge flows from the top to bottom. So you consider this guru as this great avatar who is going to give you all the knowledge. So this creates unnecessary stress on the guru, because he's expected to deliver. Once I'm going to IIT, and if I'm going to ask an IIT professor solution, and it will be really painful for him to say that no, I don't know that. So that creates a stress on him. This guru complex creates a stress on him, and also creates a problem on us, because what we have to do is that we have to go there, bow down in front, and we have to ask, and suddenly we are not getting the solution. We come out and we say what this guy knows. So it all becomes a drama. So in countries abroad, if you consider in Europe and all those things, they never have this guru complex, right? So they just consider professors as equals. So they discuss and they come up with fruitful solutions, giving it. Basically, I'm telling about the cultural difference. What the cultural difference is creating problem or is causing hindrance between industry academia interaction. Now the guru must change from guru to become a facilitator. That is one thing which we would like to have. And again, in the foreign countries, if you look at US and UK or Europe or wherever, you can see, even in my company, we have so many people who were ex-professors. Okay. So what they will do is that they were professors one day, then they become practitioner, and then they will go and become professors again. So what this cycle will do is that that will create more kind of a, because they were practitioners yesterday, right? So they know what are the real problems are. They will do industry-oriented research. Once they do industry-oriented research, they will have fruitful publications. Also, they will have better contacts. So all these things create good interaction. Now, and this is something which is very important in India is because the professors have full-term employment in most of the conditions. They are generally reluctant to break this comfort zone and come out, because if you want to become a practitioner next day, they say like, what if I fails? That is something you have to take it out of your top, and they say like, okay, I'm going to try this. If I fail or I have a job, I will try for a new job. So when you try new things, you become better in a merit-oriented system. You generally understand what merit can fetch you, right? Instead of remaining in a comfort zone. So that is another thing. Now, what are the problems that we have, the employers have? Now, one is that once these employees or the students are coming to our companies, we have some really incompetent HR professionals. I would not say they are really incompetent in their area, but sometimes they will be looking at how this guy is speaking in English, how the soft skills are. They are important, but sometimes they will not find out those guys who have got really good technical skills. So some may be speaking in some like American English or a British English, and he'll be really impressing the HR person. But the other person may be having too much of an MTI, mother tongue influence, and so the HR will say, okay, let us not take him. So what happens is that sometimes the people who are not fit for the industry comes inside. So what we are doing nowadays is that with the HR professionals, we are pairing them up with the industry people also. I mean, the corporate people also, like a manager or somebody who can really find out the true gems and see whether, okay, this person is good or not. Now, there is another problem in the industry, which is the irregular offer of perks. Irregular offer of perks. I mean, I have written it wrongly. So, what is the irregular offer of perks? Sometimes people who are good with the managers, okay, they do this buttering and all those things, and they get better salary, better increments, and everything. So, what happens is that people who are really good maybe feeling the pinch of it. So that is one thing which is really there in the industry, which is one negative point. Now, what we have to come to is that we have to float internships, which very rarely people do in from the employer front. We don't give proper internships. We always want these people who are experienced or good enough, because I have always found it is always difficult to get your first job. But getting a second job or third job, it is very easy. People will keep on calling you, hey, you come here, this is a good place to work and all. But the first job, I mean, be it internships or giving or offering or trying out a new person, most of the corporate firms are not ready to do it. So that is one problem which we have. We don't facilitate industry visits. Like when I was working in one of the Delhi Metro projects, my professor from IIT, he told me like, Jishnu, can I come to Delhi Metro project, US project site, because I have never worked I have never seen a tunnel boring machine in operation. So I said, okay, you come over. So I just asked the people in the site, and I could facilitate a visit for him. But the next point he asked was that, Jishnu, I came now. The next thing is that if I can come with my few students who are working on this area. Then I again asked, and they said no. One person is okay, and because he is an IIT professor, it is okay, but no students. Okay, so this is what they do. So this is another drawback of the industry. Now, the next point is that willingness to do technical seminars. Always in industry, it is always measured on money, right? If somebody, if you are going to ask somebody to do a technical seminar, he will ask the company how much I will get, because it's always on money. Time is money. That is the way we are being trained. So because of that, they will ask like how much I will get. So that becomes a problem. So the company may not be having, as I told you earlier, they will not be having training budgets and stuffs like that. So they say like, okay, just don't do it. Okay. Now the next thing could be is that if they come and help out, what will happen is that they will become good research mentors. What I mean by good research mentors is that if you are a professor and you are working on a practical problem, okay, and it is a taken that he may not be very much aware with the new trends in the industry and all. So he will be thinking like, okay, how to deal with my student. My student is asking me too much questions, which is contemporary. Now I have to go and check it. It will be difficult for him, because he may be guiding some 10 PhD students at that time. So at that time, if you have research mentors from industry, whom the employer, the corporate industry is facilitating, then it will be great, right? The student will directly go to the research mentor and ask, okay, dude, I'm having this problem. Fix it for me. So then they will say, okay, fine. They will say, okay, I had a similar problem when I was working. So, but this has to be somewhat funded, right? So the research mentorship is very much important. That must be funded equally from the corporate world and the academia, like 50-50, 60-40, something like that. Some sharing should be there, and they must be funding these research mentors so that fruitful research will come out. Now, the another thing that we have to do, and we never do, is that we have to collaborate with the people in the academy and improve the existing curriculum. Like I said earlier, you don't want 1970s and 1960s technology in your books again and again, right? Revision is required. When the revision is happening in every 5 months or 6 months in these days of AI and 3D printing, if you are not improving the curriculum with proper communication with the industry or corporate world, then that becomes a sin, right? That becomes a sin that you are doing. That really becomes a sin towards your students. So you have, I mean, and so it is the onus is upon the industry people or the employers to come up and collaborate with these people, collaborate with the colleges or mentors to have some improvements in the existing curriculum. Now, the next point is the intellectual property jargon. What I mean by intellectual property jargon is that, see, if I'm working in a company, I have developed a new stuff. Okay, I have developed a new technology or even you consider a new Excel sheet, a spreadsheet, which is very complicated, has got too much macros attached to it. So I will never share that sheet with a professor or a student or even to my colleagues. I will say, okay, that is my intellectual property, and companies encourage it. They say, like, if it is an intellectual property, you keep it with you. Okay, don't share, because I mean, if my company Arcadis has developed a sheet, we will never share it with anyone. Okay, we will lock that sheet or something. I mean, if we have made a complicated model, a 3D model or something in numerical analysis, we will never share that model. This really creates a problem, right? So if you are closed in yourselves, then how you will facilitate with academia? So this is another big problem. So if we can fix these problems, like if somehow the industry and academia can come together, do proper funding and reduce these problems, I think we can have a better sort of an industry academia interaction. So that is it from my side. I guess I didn't take too much time and bore you people. So that will be it. Yeah.
And now it's a time for interaction.
Yeah.
So I request my colleagues to, after the interaction, you can ask him about the industry side as well as the academic side. Please proceed.
Good evening, sir. I'm Monica, sir. Okay. So you explain clearly about what is the difficulties or interaction between the industries and then colleges.
Yeah.
But so what is the problem here? So we are stick on the syllabus.
Yeah.
So what is our duty? Our duty always want to teach the basics of the entire things. What are the things are invented? What are the things are implemented in the world? That basic things only can be taught to them.
Yeah.
That is our duty. And then we want to make them to pass and then secure the mark, good score also.
Yeah.
We can teach only basics. We cannot be involved in the manufacturing sectors or industry sectors.
Yeah.
That is some difficulties. They want to learn here basics and then they go to the industries and then based on their knowledge, they want to implement and then understanding very simply.
Yeah.
That is the basic idea. So that things only happen in your life also. I think that.
Yeah.
Why? Because you are first you join as a software engineer and then after that you enter into your original field.
Yeah.
So you definitely you may face a lot of problems.
Yeah.
What is the problem here? I think that there is a big gap between that. What is the industry? So that is the industry relationships or at least training for need for the staff members, and not only that, the frequent visit is required for the students. And then it is, but we are discussing lot of things about the in the entire 4 years. Lot of things. What are the things are present in the all industries? We are discussing all those things. So, but they cannot remember everything. So, what is the solution to get the knowledge? That is, acquire the knowledge for the students.
I mean, you mean to say like how the students can acquire more knowledge?
Knowledge based on industry.
I mean, that is what I said. The onus is really on both fronts. I mean, we have to come together. Otherwise, because this is what I said. Sometimes what happens is that this syllabus becomes very old, right? So, I mean, some of the things which we have, if we are taking a student who is a fresher into our company, and suddenly he's telling some old things, okay, that may not be very much relevant for us. So then we will always go for an experienced hand rather than going for a person who is a fresher. And that is why I told initially that you always have this problem of picking people. Picking people and training them, it becomes a very big headache. This curriculum improvement is the only thing I think we have to do. So because we are still stuck up with this old technologies and everything, somehow we have to improve our curriculum, and for that this academia industry interaction is very much required. Otherwise, students may find this difficulty, and it becomes a big problem. And also it is important for professors to come out of their comfort zone, work in industry if possible, and see what there is, what is actually there, right? And then they can pick up this knowledge and go back. And that is what I mentioned about breaking the comfort zone and things like that, because this happens abroad. It's not something which is very new. It happens very much in abroad, where they have this cyclical kind of a system where they move across and then they improve their syllabus. And I must admit one thing here is that those colleges, they have their own syllabus. Most of them will be having their own syllabuses, something like deemed universities, which you have here. So they can really change their syllabus and systems very quickly, okay? And they have a lot of money also. They have funding from industry or from the government to do new facilities. Like if I have an outdated lab, they will suddenly take out that equipment and bring in a new thing. So there is shortage of money also from all front to do this. But that is why we are not seeing industry-oriented research. And I told you the problem which is happening also. Because what will happen is that if industry-oriented research is happening, time-bound PhDs will also come out. Your PhD will not take 6, 7, 10 years. I know people who are very good, but who took 11 years for their PhD from IITs. So this will not happen because the professor will be also pressurized to deliver, right? Because from the industry, the pressure is coming to them to deliver it. So, that is something which we have to really think about. I told about a system which is there abroad, and that is something which we have to emulate, I guess.
So I think that the syllabus is common for entire world. I think that for engineering syllabus.
Yeah, that is
in foreign also they never change the syllabus. Well, little bit changes they make.
No, they do change the syllabus. I can give you examples. Have you heard about University of Politecnico di Torino in Italy? They are mainly focusing upon tunneling. Okay, and that is one place which is considered as the Mecca of tunneling.
Sir, so how many can place for only particular?
No, there are colleges abroad which are mainly focusing upon specific niche areas. So, so it is possible. It is not like okay, we have some restricted kind of thing, and we are restricted.
The working areas is very large, sir.
So I have seen this kind of institute.
Teach all areas to the students, sir.
Yeah. So,
that's a big problem for here.
Yeah, yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hello.
Ma'am, Bindu, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Others also can ask the questions, but this matter which Mr. Manikavasam was discussing, I've seen in some of the deemed universities at the government sector in North India, when I used to visit them for some purposes, that they are offering a kind of 1-year internship.
Yes.
For example, the Punjab Technological University has got this system. 1-year internship. After 3 years of BTech, the coursework is over. In 1 year, they can go and work anywhere. They can go to Bharat Atmos Limited. They can go to IT Limited. They can go to, say, some BSNL, or they can go to some heavy engineering corporation, wherever it is. They can go and work there for 1 year as an intern.
Okay, sir.
If it is an organization asking payment for internship, they have to pay and work there. Also, they can work with any university abroad also. They give 1 year off and the students can go anywhere. After 1 year, they should bring an internship certificate from an organization recognized by that university. University publish a list of organizations, thousands of organizations. So they go there, work and come. Say, for example, Dr. Jishnu was talking about Arcadis. So if a candidate from that university is trying to get an internship in that company, the company is permitting that boy or girl can come as an intern and work for 1 year. And naturally, when 1 year internship is over, that company will prefer to take them. I had my own experience once. I entrusted some of my students to work with Nirmadi Kendra, civil students. They were doing a project for Nirmadi Kendra. What happened is, when this project was over and they got the degree, Nirmadi Kendra offered them job, because these people have been experienced in the working of that system. I think out of 4 candidates, 2 joined there, 2 have gone for other jobs. So that can happen. That is the advantage of internship, which is a form of industry institute interaction. That is possible even now, but in our university that is not there. But now AICT is going to have something like that soon.
Okay. Okay, sir.
All the coursework should be over within 3 years. 1 year can be, instead of just doing project work, that can be given as internship year. That internship report will be the project report. And internship, we will specify which companies. If a company is not in that list, they'll have to get an approval from the university after a proper verification that that company is approved. I think that can make change. Otherwise, and another thing is, of course, in deemed universities at government sector and private sector, syllabus revision is their freedom, they do it. But even then, I'm seeing even in IITs, annual revision of syllabus is not happening, because the reason is there will be some professors, highly experienced professors, they would have been teaching some subject for decades and decades. They want to teach the same subject.
Yes, yes.
I had a colleague, not in IIT, I had a colleague in another institution who was teaching the same subject for 30 years, using the notes which he has written as a BTech student.
Yes, this is the problem, sir.
Who is the culprit? Is the teacher or the student?
Sir, it may old for the staff, sir, but it is new for students, sir.
Very good idea. So you don't want the syllabus to change. But luckily in that time, the syllabus had only around 20% change. But that 20% changed the portion he was skipping. I was his student. 20% syllabus which changed, he was skipping. So we couldn't study that in the classroom. And he was saying so coolly, that part you can read from the textbook, over. So his effort is very less. Still he was using
Maybe a self-study portion, sir.
He made it self-study. Actually, that portion was the most difficult portion. The portion which he skipped was the design portion. That was a new addition. And that was where teachers would have helped, but he didn't help. So this can happen. Basically, one thing is there, the students scored high marks in that paper. You know what is the reason? Everybody was afraid that they'll fail in the paper.
So that is the history, sir, always. That is the history always.
Right.
Sir, what we are facing is that nowadays we are going to IITs only for approvals, not for designs, because of this lack of knowledge. Because if you go to IITs and ask them like, okay, you design and give us these things, they will suddenly dump this thing to their PhD student, and that person will be very naive. So he may be doing some new things and giving to us. And this will, I mean, because we are working on the basis of time, it becomes a stress for us also. Suddenly we didn't get anything. So what nowadays we are doing is that we are only going for approvals. Approvals means you are only giving them money for signs, signatures. Just give them the design and tell them, okay, sir, tell me if it is okay. They will say, okay, it is okay. They will do some formatting. They will give us some formatting corrections, and then they will say, okay, you do this and do that and give it to me. I'm fine with it. So we will give them some 10 lakh rupees, 5 lakh for the professor, 5 lakh for the institute, done and dusted. So that is the problem that we are facing now. So now that has to be fixed. Actually.
So they are not industry people, sir. That's a big problem.
No, this is
they
the
can give the solution, sir.
No, sir. This is the problem here, right? Because we are working on applied sciences. We are not working on sciences. Applied sciences means it is going into the field directly.
Not apply.
Yeah. So if it is some physics or mathematics, I'm fine with it. You just stay in your room, close yourself, and do the research. But when you work on applied sciences, this connect is very much required.
I tell a very similar case in Kerala. In Kerala, any design should be vetted by a faculty member from a government or aided engineering college. If it is to be constructed by or established by the state government or local authority. That's the rule even now. A professor or a faculty member from government or aided college has to vet it.
Okay.
So when I was working in the aided college, I was doing it. But after I retired, I approached some of my former colleagues. They were saying, sir, we are not familiar with the system. We don't want to take the risk. Then instead of doing it here, I had to contact the teachers at Thrissur and Tiruvandhuram.
Okay.
And there also only 1 or 2 people were willing. The others were saying, sir, we don't want to study those things. We don't want to get into trouble. We don't want to check it. It's only checking and vetting. People are not ready. So this, teachers' updation is also a very important point. Teachers are not updated. They will not be. This is a help to the industry. They are unable to do it because they are not up to date.
Yes,
they want
sir.
to teach the old material which was with them. The IS code should have changed. The design procedures should have changed. It is happening here also. Anyway.
So nowadays in IITs, we have a very good system. Like, in IIT Delhi, I found this system and it is very attractive. Like, they are picking people from industries with PhDs more often than not, because they find it like, okay, these guys are good enough, so let us take them. Only thing is that they are looking is that whether they are having PhDs and n number of publications or not. So if those kind of people can come in, but again, if once these people also come inside IIT, what happens is that the system makes them like that. so it is a system of too much security that people tend to be like that. Okay, then they will never dare go back to industry again. Even if you give me an opportunity like that in an IIT, then I will never go back to industry. I mean, this is the Indian mindset. I'm being self-critical here also, but this is what is happening.
What about sending all our teachers for an industrial training, short duration? Earlier, government had such a system.
Okay.
Long back, government had a system where all the teachers had to be sent for 2 months industrial training. And I was a very young teacher.
Sir, that worked well in a certain engineering college in Coimbatore. 2 colleges, they practiced it.
Right.
And luckily what happened is they have won in national and international level. Students have won the prizes in all the hackathons, everything which happened.
Okay.
And,
So
that is because they made it during the vacation period, 2 weeks minimum. Faculty should undergo any industrial training.
I am asking you, Dr. Murugan, I am asking you a question. I can arrange industrial training for all of you. Will all of you be interested at least 1 month industrial training?
So I don't say all of them, but still 10 to 15% of the people will be interested.
10 to 15 is a very poor number.
It's a very poor number, but still, they should have that trust. That's it.
If everybody is interested, we can arrange.
Yeah, yes, sir.
When there is no classwork, we can arrange on shift. Yes. Anyway, in the next HOD's meeting, you please discuss it.
Okay, sir.
So let us identify who are the people who are interested in having industrial training. For example, electrical people can go to KSCB or some KEL or something like that. Okay. Mechanical people can do in some production industry. So many are nearby. And many of their top people are familiar to us. Okay. And also after the training is over, they can make an MOU with that industry and come back.
Yes, sir.
So club the students also, sir. That's the best way.
Teachers have to make the MOU, then train the students.
Train the students. Okay.
We can take the students there.
Yes, sir.
I think we will make a trial.
Yeah, we'll make it, sir. We'll make it.
Please remember this point. We will try.
Yes,
whoever is interested, they'll
can
go.
start with. Yes,
Later, everybody will get interested because they'll see that the people who are going to the industry at least may change for a short time.
yes, sir.
So that will make a change.
Okay.
That will help in making contacts and placements
Right,
also, sir.
right. For example,
Networking
all the civil faculty should go to construction site. All the electrical faculty should go to electrical areas. Electronics people should go to electronics industry.
Sir, even in construction industry, electrical people can go and see.
Yeah, definitely. We'll arrange.
Household wirings, domestic
Yes.
wiring, everything.
Yes,
And that may be a good eye-opening for the faculty members.
right.
We will try, sir. We will try with a small level. We can try.
Right,
Then we can
right,
make it in a large scale.
Yeah, we should take up because that should be the outcome of the session.
Yes,
All
sir.
our teachers are industrially trained. That will be one statement in our posters in future.
Yes, sir.
All our teachers are industry trained.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So they can give more inputs when compared to other people.
Definitely, I know that because I've been closely working with the industry for a long time.
Yes, sir.
For around 15 years, I was in the industry parallelly,
Yes, sir.
academics and industry parallelly. So I know its advantage. It is highly remunerative also.
Yes, sir.
I'm not joking. You can make some income also out of it.
Yes, certainly, sir. During the last pandemic period, myself and
Right.
Manikasan, we did energy audit for 3 industries.
And I know that you got
a lot of inputs from the industry, the latest
Yeah.
technologies we studied. And,
somebody has informed me that you got some payment also. I was really happy.
yes, sir. We both, sir. We both got them. And we have become a certified auditor, sir.
Right, that's good. Yeah. That initiative can come to others.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we have come to 4:17. Our session is supposed to be up to 4:15 only. So who will propose a vote of thanks? I think Dr. Murugan can propose a vote of thanks to Dr. Jishnu so that we can close this discussion.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So, thank you, Dr. Jishnu. It was really a good interactive session. And what exactly industry interaction partnership it means we have delivered in a very good manner. And what exactly happens in the industry also, I think everybody who attended this meeting would have come to know what is exactly how to go ahead with the industry. Because without practical experience, one cannot become a complete full-fledged engineer. All the people who completed their graduation in engineering are basically engineers, then only completing their PG and they are becoming teachers.
Correct.
So the first thing is we are engineers, so we should be more practical and we should have more practical knowledge. So really it was we thank you on behalf of Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology for delivering complete guidance on the industry interaction. And I also at this juncture, I thank our beloved principal, Dr. Mahadevan sir, and the organizing team of IST for arranging such kind of programs. I thank all my HOD friends and also all the teachers who attended the program for their presence listening. Personally, we thank Dr. Jishnu and hope we can interact and have a lot of support from your side for making our civil students to be interacted with you so that they can get more practical exposure.
Yes.
So we request such a help from your side. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, sir.